You make good money, but somehow by the end of the month, it's gone. You didn't buy anything luxurious or crazy, you were just living. But somehow, nothing is left. If that sounds familiar, this video will show you why it's happening, how to fix it, and how to reach financial freedom. Everything I'm about to share comes from a best-selling book, Your Money or Your Life. This is the book that started the entire financial independence movement. Let's get into it. Part 1. The lie you have been told. You think you know what you earn, but you probably don't. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say your job pays $30 an hour, 40 hours a week. That is $1,200 a week. Simple math, right? That is what I thought too, but it is wrong. Have you ever sat down and calculated what your job actually takes from you? I'm not just talking about the 8 hours at the office. Think about it. The time getting ready in the morning, the time after work when your brain is still stuck on that annoying email, the commute if you go to an office, the stress you carry into your evenings, the energy you lose that makes you too tired to do anything meaningful. When you add all of that up, a 40-hour work week is really taking 55 to 60 hours of your life. But wait, we're not done yet. Now subtract all the work-related costs. Transport, food you bought because you had no time to cook, clothes you needed for work, the drinks to unwind after a stressful day. When you divide what is left by the real hours, that $30 an hour becomes something like $10. I know, it hurts to see this. But here is what makes this really painful. That $10 is not just money. It is your life. Every time you work, you exchange a piece of your existence for currency. That time does not come back. Ever. It's not just hours either. It is your effort, your attention, your stress, and often your health. Let me put this into perspective with a simple visual that really changed how I see things. Imagine a box that represents your entire life. Each small square inside is 1 week. If you live to 80, that is 4,160 weeks total. Sounds like a lot, right? But look closer. If you are 30 years old, around 1,560 weeks are already gone. You cannot get them back. Subtract future sleep, that's another 867 weeks gone. Subtract mundane tasks like cooking, cleaning, and chores, that's another 546 weeks. What's left? Around 1,187 weeks of actual free time. That is all you have. And by the way, that includes old age, your 70s and 80s, when you might not have the energy to do much. When I first did this calculation, I felt sick to my stomach, but it also woke me up. Now, let me redo the math on your purchases. That $20 t-shirt you grabbed because it was on sale, if your real hourly wage is $10, that is not $20. That is 2 hours of your life. That $400 leather jacket, that is 40 hours. One of those green boxes, gone forever. Most people think in dollars. Dollars feel abstract and easy to spend. But hours? Hours are real. When you think in time instead of money, spending starts to hurt in a good way. So here is your task for this week. Calculate your real hourly wage. First, add up every hour your job actually takes, including commute, getting ready, and recovery time. Then take your paycheck and subtract every cost your job creates, like transport, work clothes, lunches out, and stress spending. Finally, divide what is left by your real hours. That is your true hourly rate. From now on, before every purchase, ask yourself, how many hours of my life does this cost? This one question will change how you spend. Part 2. Why more money will not save you. Now, here's where most people, including myself, make a big mistake. After learning that money equals life energy, the obvious thought is, okay, I just need to make more money. Problem solved. I thought the same thing, but it doesn't work that way. Let me explain why. Researchers asked people at every income level the same question: how much money would make you happy? And the answer was always the same: about 50% more than I have now. The person earning $50,000 thinks $75,000 would solve everything. The person earning $200,000 thinks they need $300,000. Always more, never enough. It never stops. I found this fascinating because it means the problem is not the amount. It is how we think about money. There is something called the fulfillment curve that explains this perfectly. At the beginning, you are in survival mode, stressed and struggling. Every dollar matters hugely and genuinely improves your life. Then you get comfortable. Nice bed, good food, a decent place to live. You are still climbing and life is getting better. Then come the luxuries. A few nice things. Life feels pretty good. Then you hit the peak. You have everything you need. Nothing is dragging you down. This is the sweet spot. But here's the problem. Most people don't stop here. They keep going. Bigger house, fancier car, more stuff. And here's where it gets interesting. After the peak, the curve actually goes down. More spending equals less happiness. Why? Because now you have more things to manage, more clutter, more maintenance, more stress, more to worry about. So more is a trap. It's a moving target. You can chase it your whole life and never arrive. But enough? Enough is a fixed point. You can reach it, stop, and actually enjoy your life. Now, here's the important question. What does enough look like for you? Because it's different for everyone. For one person, it might mean comfort and free time. For another, it might mean flexibility, travel, or security. Let me share what enough looks like for me. I want the freedom to work when I want, where I want. I want to be able to take a taxi whenever I want without doing mental math about whether I can afford it. I want to open a menu at a restaurant and choose anything without looking at the price column first. I want to take my parents on a nice vacation twice a year. I want to wake up at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday and go for a walk in the park if I feel like it. That is my enough. It's not a private jet. It is freedom and peace of mind. So what does your enough look like? Write down what a comfortable life actually looks like for you. What would make you feel like you have enough? Be specific. This becomes your target. Without a clear target, you will just keep chasing more forever like everyone else. Part 3. A simple habit that cuts spending. Now, let me share a simple strategy that can cut your spending by up to 25%. Ready? Here it is. Just write down every purchase you make during the day. That's it. I know. You're probably thinking, that is too simple. That cannot work. I thought the same thing, but let me explain why it works. When people start tracking their spending, something strange happens. Their expenses drop, not because they are forcing themselves to spend less, but because they are finally paying attention. It's like stepping on a scale every morning. You don't have to go on a crazy diet. Just the act of seeing the number makes you more conscious of what you eat. Most people have no idea where their money actually goes. They earn it, it disappears, they're confused. Where did it all go? And I'm guilty of this too. When I first tracked my expenses, I found subscriptions I forgot I had, random purchases that added zero value to my life, and habits I didn't even know existed. You cannot change what you cannot see, and most people are financially blind. Now, you might be wondering, what about budgets? I've tried budgets many times, and they never worked for me. Here's the problem with budgets. They try to control the future. They decide in advance how much money should be spent. But life doesn't follow plans. Unexpected expenses show up. The budget breaks. you feel like a failure. But tracking is different. You're not forcing anything, you're just observing. And that observation naturally changes your behavior. You start noticing patterns, where money leaks, the impulse buys that added nothing, the habits you didn't know you had. So, if you are really feeling lost, try tracking it for 30 days. Every coffee, every subscription, every random purchase. Write it down in a notebook or use an app, whatever works for you. Part 4, the 3 questions filter. Okay, so now you know where your money goes, but how do you decide if it should keep going there? The author recommends a simple filter. 3 questions to ask about every spending category at the end of each month. Question 1. Did I get fulfillment in proportion to the life energy spent? Think about that expensive dinner you had last month. Was it worth the hours of your life it cost? Did it bring real joy? Or was it forgettable? Some things will pass this test. Keep them. Some things will fail hard, and when they fail, you will know exactly what to cut. Question 2. Is this spending aligned with my values? This one is tricky because most of us think we know our values, but our spending tells a different story. Let me give you an example. You say financial independence is important to you, but you invest nothing. You say health is a priority, but you spend more on junk food than on gym memberships. That is not alignment. Your spending reveals your real priorities, not what you say with your mouth. Look at your expenses. Does your money go toward what you truly care about or away from it? Question 3. How would this spending change if I did not have to work for money? This one is my favorite because it reveals something most people never see. Would you still need that expensive apartment near the office if you didn't have to commute? Probably not. Would you still buy expensive work clothes? Probably not. Most people discover that a huge chunk of their expenses exists only because of their job. Think about how crazy that is. They are paying money to cope with making money. The job creates stress. The stress creates spending. The spending requires more work. It is a cycle that feeds itself, and most people are trapped in it without even realizing. Breaking the cycle starts with seeing it. So, at the end of this month, take your tracked expenses and ask all 3 questions about each category. Mark each one. Keep it, cut it, or not sure. This becomes your filter for the next month. Do this every month and watch how your spending naturally shifts toward what actually matters to you. Part 5. Earn more, but not how you think. Now, let me talk about the income side, and I want to share a perspective that completely changed how I think about work. The author says, your job has one purpose: to make money. That's it. Stop asking more from it. It does not have to complete you. It does not have to give you meaning. It does not have to be your passion. It just has to pay you fairly for your time. Let me give you an analogy that made this click for me. Expecting your job to give you money and meaning and friendship and purpose and fulfillment is like expecting your girlfriend to be everything. Think about it. You want her to be your romantic partner, your best friend, your therapist, your fitness coach, your source of all happiness and meaning in life. At some point, that relationship will break, not because she is failing, but because the expectation is completely unrealistic. It's the same with work. When you stop expecting your job to be everything, you can finally see it clearly for what it is: a transaction. Your time for their money. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Once we agree it is just a transaction, we can ask better questions. Am I getting a good deal? Am I maximizing my return on the hours I'm selling? Would you sell your car for half its value just because the buyer seemed nice? Of course not. So why sell your time for less than it's worth? Most people are very passive about income. They accept whatever is offered. They do not negotiate. They do not look around. They do not build new skills. That is leaving life energy on the table. Now, some people might say, but I don't want to be greedy, or money isn't everything. Look, I agree that money isn't everything, but being smart about the time you sell is not greedy. It's just being wise with your life energy. Here is where it gets counterintuitive. Valuing your time does not mean becoming a workaholic. It actually means the opposite. It means earning more per hour so you can work fewer hours. Think about it. If you need $4,000 a month and earn $20 an hour, you'll work 200 hours. But if you earn $40 an hour, you only work 100 hours. Same money, half the time. Now, you've already figured out your real hourly pay after things like travel, stress, and recovery time. You also know what enough looks like for you. Here's the big question. If someone offered you your current job as a deal, would you take it? If your answer is no, then stop thinking, I just need to work harder. Instead, ask, how can I make this deal better? That could mean asking for a raise, switching to a better role, or finding work that pays more for the same hours. The point is, don't just work harder, work smarter. Part 6, the escape. Okay, here's where everything comes together. The author recommends creating a simple chart and tracking 3 lines over time. Line 1, your total monthly income, and line 2, your total monthly expenses. As you become more conscious about spending, your expenses will naturally drop without feeling like a sacrifice. As you value your time more and build skills, your income often rises. The gap between these 2 lines is your savings rate. Think of it as fuel for your freedom. Now, add a 3rd line, your monthly investment income. This is the money your money makes while you sleep, like interest, dividends, or returns. Your savings go into things that earn for you, such as land or property, energy projects, index funds. Not because they're exciting, but because they pay you without taking up your time. Before you invest, ask yourself, does this match my values? Can I handle the risk if it goes wrong? Can I turn it back into cash if I need to? If any answer is no, skip it. It's not part of your escape plan. At first, your investment income line will barely exist. You might look at it and think, this is pointless. It'll take forever. But here's what happens if you stay patient. Every month you save, it grows. Compound interest kicks in. The curve bends upward. Meanwhile, your expenses are dropping because you are conscious now. So you have 2 lines slowly moving toward each other. And then there is a moment that changes everything. The author calls it the crossover point. It is the day your monthly investment income crosses above your monthly expenses. Let that sink in for a moment. When your investments generate more money than you spend each month, work becomes optional. You don't have to quit your job if you enjoy it, but you can. You have the freedom to choose. That is the whole point. Here is the simple math to find your financial freedom number. Take your annual expenses and multiply by 25. That is roughly how much you need invested to live off the returns forever. For example, if you spend $40,000 a year, you need about $1 million invested. If you spend $20,000 a year, you need only $500,000. If you spend $19,000 a year, you need $475,000. Now, I want you to pay close attention here because this completely changed my perspective. Look at those last 2 numbers. The difference between spending $20,000 and $19,000 a year is just $1,000. That is about $83 a month. But that tiny cut moved your investment target $25,000 closer, $475K instead of $500K. That is the power of cutting expenses. You are not just saving money, you are pulling the finish line closer to you. Every dollar you cut from your expenses works twice. Once because you save it, twice because you need less invested to be free. I will be honest with you. I was never a fan of cutting costs. I always thought, why focus on cutting when I can just earn more? But after realizing how dramatically it impacts the financial freedom number, my opinion changed. Now I see cutting expenses as pulling the finish line closer, not as deprivation. So, here is the takeaway. Create a simple chart. It can be on paper or in a spreadsheet, whatever works for you. Track your income, expenses, and investment income each month. Watch the lines move toward each other. That is freedom getting closer. And every time you see that gap narrowing, you will feel motivated to keep going. Part 7. Why we do all this? Let me zoom out and remind us both why we do all of this. Because it's easy to get lost in the numbers and forget the real purpose. It is not to be the richest person in the graveyard. It is not to win some imaginary competition with your neighbors. The point is freedom. Freedom to spend your Monday morning however you want. Freedom to go to the gym on a Wednesday afternoon when everyone else is stuck in an office. Every step we talked about today, tracking your spending, questioning your expenses, defining your enough, earning more per hour, investing the difference, is aimed at one thing: getting your hours back. Getting your life back. Most people will never achieve this, and I don't say that to be harsh. It's just the reality. They'll wake up tired, rush out the door, watch the clock at work, rush home, collapse on the couch, scroll through their phone until they fall asleep, and repeat this for 40 years. And one day they will look back and ask, where did my life go? Please don't let that be you. And I'm saying this to myself as much as to you because I need this reminder too. Money is just the tool. Time is the treasure. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more finance book summaries like this one, then check out the playlist you see on your screen.